Now then, the parents of Archie Battersbee have been fighting a relentless battle to keep their son on life support after he was found unconscious at home in April.
Just over a month ago, the High Court ruled that Archie's treatment should be withdrawn. The family tried to fight the decision, but now face a very real prospect that in just a few hours' time, the 12-year-old's life support could be switched off.
We're now joined by Archie's mother, Holly Dance, who's vowed never to give up on her son. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us on what is an incredibly stressful day for you. We thank you for your time. The overwhelming medical opinion, as you know, is that your lovely boy slipped away a long time ago now. What makes you and your husband think that he just might still be with you?
I know Archie's still with us. Archie's showing very different signs to what the clinicians are actually putting over to the courts. He's very much there. He's progressing in so many ways. They put over to the court that Archie doesn't hold his own body temperature. Archie's been doing that for months now. He's got very good, stable heartbeat. He holds his own blood pressure. He's gaining weight. All very different things that are actually being put over.
So why
we're looking at incredible pictures of Archie now, of just the most beautiful little boy, and it must break your heart to see those pictures, and also to see him lying there, albeit with so many tubes coming out of him, but still looking in so many ways like that beautiful little boy. And the unbelievable emotion of that, and the mother's instinct to fight on, must be overwhelming for you, whatever anybody says.
It is. It is. Archie, Archie was attempting to breathe, which was videoed. That did actually go out to the media. And
so look, you are wanting to fight on, aren't you? You're wanting to fight on. What is open to you? Because we can't. My heart is with you. I know Richard's is, in that instinct and that kind of fight. But we can't get into the challenge of what the doctors have done wrong, if you like, because that is for a court to look at. It's not for us to do. But some of those things you mentioned, like the body temperature and the heart, some people would argue that that is to do with the life support system. That's not to do with the connection with the brain and the body, that they're arguing is against it. So what is left open to you this morning before that grim midday hour to pursue?
I think it's just the Supreme Courts now. I think that is we are literally now at the final stage. Apart from that, I think that's it.
If you're right, Holly, and the medical teams who've been doing their best, obviously, for your boy, are wrong, why do you think they're so insistent that they should withdraw life support? Because you've just gone through a series of symptoms and signs which you say makes you believe that he's actually improving. Why would they be so adamant in refusing to accept your argument?
I don't know. All I know is that in every other country, they've got very different options available to people when they're in comas, including coma arousal programs, rehabilitation. It's just, he hasn't been given long enough. This is a brain injury. People stay on ventilators for a lot longer than Archie's actually had.
So you're asking for time? Time?
Yeah, that's all we've asked for.
You want time to give him time. And is there also, in a sense, a fight to give yourselves time to process this as well, and to really feel like you've tried everything?
I think I've made it sort of clear before. I've been in fight and flight since this happened. I haven't even had a chance to process what's happened with Archie, how I found Archie. We've been thrown into the courts we was in court within 2 weeks. Hospital had us within court 9.5 hours before we was due to appear in court. We was told that we was being taken to court. There's been no time to process anything. It's just been fight for my child's life from day one, really.
What do you say?
I vowed, and I promised Archie I would do that till the end, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yes, you made that vow, and you've absolutely stuck to it, and you're sticking to it even as we speak. I was going to ask you, I'm sorry if I interrupted you, it's a bit difficult when we're so far away from each other. What do you say to people who feel incredibly sympathetic to both you and your husband? Parents like myself, grandparents, who totally understand the parental instinct to fight and fight and fight, but who say that maybe that incredibly powerful instinct to protect our child is possibly clouding your judgment?
I don't think it is clouding our judgment. There's too much evidence to say Archie's progressing. I've done nothing but educate myself on brain injuries and signs of showing improvement. Archie's held my hand. You know, he's held other people's hands that are coming into the hospital, squeezed my fingers. He was squeezing my fingers so tight, my fingers were red, vigorously shaking my hand so that his hand slides off. It didn't slide off. He's opened his eyes. He's attempted to breathe. All he needs is time. That's all we've asked for. The brain is a very complex thing, you know. It's 8 weeks just to get a broken leg. This is a brain.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of things I want to ask you that's a little bit based on my own personal experience, which I want to stress, particularly for Derek's family who might be watching, is I know very different from yours in the sense that, mercifully for me, I've not had to have the conversations with doctors about discussions of turning off life support machines. And Derek's brainstem has never been affected in the way that poor Archie's had. But I have had to have conversations in my own head with myself sometimes when Derek was in the coma and in a state of minimum consciousness about how much my sort of, I'm using this about myself, not you, but how much my frenzy to fight for him and to check every possible option was about me and my needs, and how much was about him. And I understand your fight, but I guess what the courts are there for is to try and manage our instinct and also the right thing for the person as well, aren't they? Have you thought about that?
Yes, of course I have. And if Archie was in pain and deteriorating the way that it's been put over to the courts, then I would be feeling very different. But it's not the case. And based on that not being the case, I find it very hard not to exhaust every option. You know, if there was no progression signs and he was going backwards or there was no improvement whatsoever, I would have no choice but to think different, but he's not. And whilst he is progressing, it's very, very hard to stop fighting for his life. I feel every day he's giving me different indications to continue to keep fighting. It's not just myself, it's Archie's siblings, it's Archie's dad, it's family and friends around us. It's not just myself.
Yes.
And you want time. You want time.
Holly,
that's all we've asked.
You and your husband have been clinging super tight to hope since April. And today's the day that you discover whether that hope will be justified a little bit longer. All the legal opinion is that this appeal to the Supreme Court won't be successful. You know that. Your lawyers will have told you that. How will you manage at 12 o'clock today if the decision goes against you?
I don't know. I think it's very hard for anyone, obviously, to say or foresee the future, how you're going to manage. I don't know. I'd be lying if I said
You're
I knew.
at the hospital now, aren't you? Will you stay there with him?
Yes, we've asked with regards to moving Archie. We wouldn't want Archie's final moments at this hospital. You know, is that Archie's brother can't even come and cuddle and have a conversation with his brother. It's continuous people in and out Archie's room. The doors open constantly. The curtains are open constantly. There's no privacy.
No.
We wouldn't want Archie's last moments here.
Well, Holly, whatever happens today, I can't tell you how much we send you our love and our prayers, and I think we speak for all our viewers. They send you all their love and, as I say, prayers. Thank you. Thank you for being with us.
Absolutely. So much love and huge bravery, whichever way it falls for you.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you for giving us your time.
It's Holly Dance speaking to us very bravely just a short time ago. Well, in a statement last night, Barts Health NHS Trust said this: "Our heartfelt sympathies and condolences remain with Archie's family at this difficult time. We're following the direction of the courts, so no changes will be made to Archie's care while the family appeal to the Supreme Court. Although we will prepare to withdraw treatment after midday today, unless directed otherwise."